Hey, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining so much. Super excited to have you all for Automation Best Practices with Java. We're going to have an amazing workshop. This workshop, how I came up with it was just thinking about how hard of a time we've all been having the last few years, with COVID and all that. And I wanted a way to give back to the community. And so I teamed up, obviously, with Sauce, who I work for, to give away these free workshops, help people, anyone that wants to upskill in test automation, and just share any knowledge that I got, to share it with you all, and then combine us as a community to help a greater cause than ourselves. So it's kind of like me helping you all, and in return, all I ask is that we together help a greater cause than ourselves. The charity that we are helping today is Codeorg. They are a nonprofit dedicated to expanding access to computer science in schools and increasing participation by young women and students from other underrepresented groups. Their vision is that every student in school has the opportunity to learn computer science as part of their core K-12 education. I'm really passionate about this cause. I mean, imagine if we all got to learn computer science when we were, K through 12. The only thing I learned was like typing during that time and Microsoft Word, which, I would be so far more advanced if I had better education than that. And so they're helping to do that. Today, we are going to learn multiple different topics. We're gonna basically create a test automation framework that's gonna do functional browser testing, visual end-to-end testing. It's going to run in parallel, and we're going to get robust test reports with logs and videos through our Sauce Lab Selenium grid. These are the technologies that we are going to use. Hopefully everybody is familiar with at least some of these technologies. Here is the breakdown of our table of contents and how we're gonna learn along the way. It's basically from start to end. We're gonna start here and we're gonna go all the way down step by step. We are gonna get like 1 10-minute break. I unfortunately always have so much content, and I want to deliver it, in as little time as possible. So as I was developing it, I realized 3 hours is probably not enough. So maybe if you all want, you can stick around a little bit longer. I'm gonna try to squeeze it in 3 hours, but I don't know if it'll happen. But anyways, we're going to have like a 10-minute break, I think, like here, for you to get some food or drink or use the restroom or anything like that. And the rest of the time, we're going to be learning and doing hands-on coding. So some of the requirements, this is not a beginner's course. I'm not going to be teaching anything about Java or Selenium here. We're going to be diving deep into code, using page objects, and writing different types of tests. So hopefully you have that under your belt. Worst case, this is always recorded. You can always pay attention to the course anyway, and then revisit any topics afterwards that you weren't so familiar with. So I am obviously your instructor. This is my cute little dog, Mia. I've been doing testing since 2008, started out in manual testing, but I always had a passion for coding, so then transitioned into doing automated testing. I was using a tool back in the day called QTP. I don't even know if people are familiar with it anymore. It's been so long. Then it became like UFT. Then I transitioned to Selenium in 2015. Selenium with C#, and ever since then, I've been doing Selenium plus a bunch of other different types of tools for automated testing. I was even so passionate about testing that I started my own blog, Ultimate QA, and there I help people learn how to do test automation better. And now I am super lucky to work for Sauce Labs as a solutions architect, which basically means that I help customers literally all over the world in their test automation practices, whether improving their UI automation, integration testing, unit testing, everything to help them achieve their digital quality goals. Okay, cool. So the very first thing that you all hopefully already have, we try to send you multiple emails to get everybody set up beforehand, but I know it doesn't happen, is you want to get set up. Hopefully you have your free Sauce Labs account and you have your demo screener account. go ahead and get those. You'll need your username and API keys. And then you have two options for setup. You're going to be able to set up a local environment, which really I wouldn't expect most of you all to be able to do before the right now. At this time, it takes way too long to set up a local environment, download your IDE, install Java and all that. So if you don't already have that ready because you didn't come in here with the Java knowledge, I recommend you use the Gitpod setup. Gitpod setup is you're going to basically be coding in your browser. It's going to start a container in your browser and you'll be writing code there. But of course, if you have the local setup, then wonderful. And ultimately, both of those setups, how they really end is you navigate to this directory, Automation Best Practices Workshop, and you're going to run sanity tests. If you run your sanity tests and everything passes, then you know your setup is complete. And we can do that together actually really quickly. I'll show you all. Again, whether local or Gitpod, it doesn't matter. You can see I've got my repository here, obviously what I've been working on. You can see I'm in this workshop directory, right? And then ultimately you want to do Maven test, D test, and was it sanity? Sanity test. You're going to run your sanity test, which will ultimately check that the environment is set up correctly. It's going to run a test in Sauce Labs, and it's going to run a visual test. Both of those ensuring that everything is working. And let me shift my keyboard here so that it's easier for me to type and I don't have to turn sideways. So I'll let that run. Once it passes, you know you're good. If you're not good, you troubleshoot until you figure it out. And then final piece of information is this key here. Throughout the workshop, we're going to be going through demonstrations, exercises. You'll see these light bulbs, which means they're a tip. This person lifting this weight means an exercise for you to do. On your keyboard, you're going to be coding. And then along the way, we're going to have these questions that we're all going to stop and talk about. And participation is highly encouraged because I want this to be a conversation and a learning experience for all of us. And yeah, just try not to scroll beyond this question before we discuss, because a lot of times the answer is right after the question. So it's much more interesting when we don't have the answer after the question.